Hey guys, Danny and Rocky the Traveler here. Well, mostly Danny the Traveler. There's so much going on in the world nowadays, especially in the world of pets and travel, pet travel. Of course, with lockdowns and all that, not many people are traveling internationally anyway. Here in England, we're in our third lockdown and we can't really travel much outside of our cities or towns. Barbershops are closed, hence the beanie. But I wanted to talk about one big change in pet travel this year. No, it's not Brexit. That's definitely another big change in pet travel. But I'm talking about emotional support animals on planes. And further to that, pets in planes. Ever since people began to bring emotional support peacocks and turkeys, and coupled with the higher number of incidents in the plane and complaints, I knew that the emotional support animals on the plane would eventually change. And I knew there would have to be some big changes. This year, the Department of Transportation officially made it so that airlines no longer have to accept emotional support animals in the plane. Meaning ESAs, emotional support animals, will now be treated as pets and will either have to go inside of a container if they're small enough and the airline allows it, or if they're too big, then they'll have to go travel in the cargo. But either way, those with emotional support animals will have to pay now. Many airlines have already banned ESAs on their flights. But I do think that it could have been handled differently, and I do recognize that some people really do need emotional support animals. For one, I believe airlines could have implemented far stricter criteria for allowing ESAs on board. They could have even restricted ESAs to just dogs rather than, emotional support turkeys or peacocks or donkeys. On top of only allowing emotional support dogs, they would have to make sure that these emotional support dogs are legitimate support dogs who behave well, get authorized to fly by a vet who has looked at their behavior history, and they're able to actually meet airline personnel as well at the check-in, and who can see that the dog is indeed well behaved. There are surveys out there showing that people really don't mind flying next to dogs. And in fact, some surveys even show that most people would prefer flying next to dogs rather than babies. No offense to any babies out there watching this. Anyway, I think some of those changes would have been a great start to filtering out some of those fraudsters. I do believe emotional support dogs play a big role in alleviating many different symptoms for those who legitimately need them. Now, I want to get to my other point about pets in the cabin. I do believe that many airlines have gone down this route of banning ESAs, not solely because they want to accommodate passengers, but also because banning ESAs will mean that those with ESAs will now have to either fly in a small crate, or fly cargo, which can be very expensive. There's even an article detailing that airlines will stand to make millions from charging customers who previously flown as ESAs, or with ESAs, excuse me. So there's definitely a bit of monetary motivation there. Now, do I think emotional support animals should fly for free? I'm open-minded about this, and I'm happy to pay for an extra seat, if I were to bring Rocky as an emotional support animal. And survey data also shows that most people wouldn't mind paying for a seat for their dog. For those with ESAs and pets, I don't think money is a big factor when they bring their dogs in the cabin. In fact, I would wager it's more due to safety concerns. That's what people are more worried about, rather than having to pay an X amount of money so that their dog can travel in the cabin. So the biggest reason, I think, for many people who fly with ESAs, from what I've seen, people I've spoken to, and from what I've read, and again, this is just my opinion, feel free to disagree, it's because no dog owner wants to put their dog in a cargo hold. We've all read the horror stories of airline personnel completely neglecting dogs in the cargo, treating them like pieces of luggage. Many of these dogs, unfortunately, do not arrive to their destination. And, I get some critics that, they'll say, well, just leave your dog at home. But it's not so simple now. Pets are increasingly becoming a big part of the family. People now go on vacations, holidays, with their pets, especially during this pandemic where local traveling is on the rise, so they're able to take their dogs more in their cars or maybe in their camper vans. So people are definitely traveling more with their pets nowadays. If they want to go somewhere and bring their pets, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But of course, as many families consider their pets as part of the family, they want to make sure that they can travel safely and not have to worry about, well, are they going to make it once we get to our destination? Is our pet going to be okay? You know, it's a very concerning thought. You know, the idea of having your dog down there in a cargo, not being able to check on their well-being. So yeah, I get it. So what should airlines do? Here's my suggestion, and I think it would make everyone happy, including the airlines. It would require a big change, but I think the world is going to eventually move into this direction. Maybe in 15 years, maybe even less. You know, if we have some rich pet-loving innovators out there, who knows? Having traveled quite a bit with Rocky, I have managed to travel on ferries across Europe, and on some of the ferries, there's kennel rooms, and it's very comfy for dogs. Well, many of them. There's blankets, water bowls, room for them to stand up and turn around. The room is also climate controlled, and there's cameras in some of these ferries inside of the kennel room, so that dog owners who are staying inside the cabin of these ferries can monitor their dogs, which I think is really cool. So that being said, I believe some major airlines will be able to implement a small kennel room, soundproof, so as not to bother any passengers. So you can put this kennel room in the back of the plane perhaps, and have a dog-loving or dog-friendly flight attendant sit near that section. And so as to minimize disturbances, have a maximum of maybe 2 or 3 dogs in this kennel room, maximum. So this is a small room in the cabin of the airplane, maybe in the back, so it won't take up too much real estate on the plane. And there you can fit, again, I said 1 or 2 large dogs and a medium dog. The airlines can charge a fee for this, maybe the same amount that they charge pets to go in the cargo hold. I'm willing to bet most people would happily pay to safely take their dogs on the plane in this small kennel in the back of the plane, even if that means they might have to pay more than they would in the cargo hold. Because I think safety is priceless. So is it safer than the cargo hold? Well, many dogs already travel in small crates in the cabin, and there seems to be really no problem with that. And boom, that's there you go. You know, that's the idea. People don't have to game the system to travel with their dogs or create any fake certificates. They can fly with their dogs, and they can even check on them a couple of times, and an attendant is even monitoring the area so they can check on their well-being. I think this can work very well for those who want to travel with their dogs. Of course, same behavioral rules apply. Got to make sure that the dog is well behaved, used to traveling, maybe they've already traveled by car, etc. So traveling on an airplane wouldn't be so much of a stretch. And make sure the dog has been prepped for the trip and is healthy and non-aggressive. So I would say the dog can get some certification from a vet that the dog is well behaved, which I believe some airlines have already done this prior to the ESA ban. I would say get the certification from the vet that the dog is well behaved. You got the soundproof wall in case the dog snores, but again, no different from a baby or no different from small dogs who already travel in the cabin. I think this could go a long way in stopping ESA fraud, and it would even boost airline revenue as well. So this entire idea might sound crazy right now in 2021, but in the long run, with the world becoming more pet friendly, again, I think this could happen sooner than later. Maybe Elon Musk will create a pet friendly airline. Who knows? Elon, if somehow you're watching this, you can credit me for this idea. You don't have to pay me or anything. But what do you guys think? Do you agree? Should there be a soundproof but safe dog kennel in the back of the cabin? Any more thoughts? Thanks, and if you liked the video, hit that like button and subscribe. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.